The waiting makes you nervous. Everywhere you can notice that it's about to start. But then it remains quiet nevertheless. Even though we are well off here in Kharkiv, the Russian is lurking behind the gates. There are reports of troops which have been scouted out by the Russians even closer toward Kharkiv. Our air force is attacking trains that are loaded with tanks. Nevertheless, more and more units of troops arrive. An exact picture of the situation does not exist. LONET gives information on and off from which one can derive an approximate picture. A few days ago, he was with the divisional commander and was supposed to drop off some papers at the division's office. There he was able to catch a glance of the big situational map. A lot of red flags around Kharkiv, he remarks, and we are in the middle. Main thing is, it will start soon. The waiting tugs on our nerves. At the moment, we are hardly being deployed as a corps and tank unit. We are involved in minor skirmishes with the Ivan, are being sent here for an advance and therefore a straightening of the lines. I wish our commander would return with missions from the situational conferences. But apparently there isn't much to do for our Isolde. The feeling is creeping up in me that we are intentionally not being thrown to the front. Maybe the commander is letting other crews go first rather than driving into the fire himself. I discuss the situation with other tank gunners. Here and there I drop remarks about our tank and the few deployments. An older gunner from the Oberau crew then remarks casually that Hansen had lost his drive. I dig further. After I'm drilling more insistently, he tells me that the other commanders had noticed that Hansen wasn't the same anymore. He no longer volunteered for assaults as he had done earlier. Of course, it's being blamed on his injury. Here on the front, however, we're all the same. Everybody must have a go. I don't like this at all, but for now I won't say anything to my master sergeant. Thoughtfully, I sit over my notes and contemplate what I should do. Then the door swings open with a bang. We are to appear at combat operation ASAP. Finally, something happening. The Russians are coming. We gotta go. A little bit later, we find out that the division wants to reconquer the western bank of the Donets. No, not wants to, but this has to be done in order for the river to be integrated as a natural barrier in the defense of Kharkiv. Even I can understand that. We get ready. The next morning at 5 o'clock, it's supposed to start. We put several tanks of the regiment together for the assault. Other units of the 3rd Tank Division are also included. A large number of comrades are supposed to be thrown forward for this clean-up operation. 2 villages are to be taken on the way. Eventually, the Russian is to be pushed back to the riverbank. Well, cheers, that will be quite a dance. Most likely, Ivan will dig himself in there again and won't retreat. We were supposed to get going at 5 a.m. The roads, however, are so iced over that it takes another hour and a half until we finally get rolling. I'm sitting inside the turret next to Master Sergeant Hansen and talk to him about the mission. He doesn't say much. He keeps looking through the binoculars and somehow seems to be nervous. It's cold. I button up my jacket all the way. We talk about the deployment of our Isolde and that we concentrate on supporting the infantry. So as usual, we will blast Ivan out of the positions. We agree that I am permitted to fire independently upon identified targets without an order to fire. That means a lot, since one can quickly determine what's important in the optic and where it's possible to wait. Over radio, we get the command to swing in and roll toward the village. Not even 5 minutes later, the nightmare already breaks loose. The Russian artillery are sending the first greetings. The shelling is poorly aimed, therefore we make good progress. Here and there the tank shakes and a few pieces of shrapnel and lumps of dirt hit against the turret. And so we rumble further toward the village. I'm strenuously looking through the optic. Bang! Already there's an explosion against the turret. Not far from my head, something impacts and ricochets. Then again, and once more, too small for anti-tank gun? Or would they be firing at us with anti-aircraft guns? The noise increases. Indeed, we are being showered with anti-aircraft shells. It must be the 37mm that's spitting at us. But these anti-aircraft shells just explode on impact and can penetrate. The artillery by now has found their mark. Their impacts are lying close. We got to get closer to the village in order to get out from underneath the fire. I keep looking through my optic, searching for targets. Then there's a flash to the right of us. Close to 100 meters from us, anti-tank rifle crews are laying in the snow, firing at us. I could see the muzzle flash and report it over the radio. I direct the gun, but leave it to the radio operator to engage the shooters with a frontal machine gun. The machine gun rattles, and the first anti-tank rifle crew is eliminated. Damn things, these rifles. Frontally, they can't touch us, but the shooters wait till we pass and then fire into our side or rear. Some manage to hit between the tracks and upper plate. Then such a fat slug might penetrate. Strained, I'm searching for more gun emplacements. The artillery fire is behind us. Again a flash, straight ahead. The bullet bounces off the gun mantle. The rifles have to be manually reloaded, so it will take a while till the next shot rings out. I am at the location where the flash appeared. With the rough terrain, it's difficult to stay on target. There I see how the rifle pushes itself through the snow. Without hesitation, I fire my main gun into the position. A body is flung through the air and half-shredded remains lying in the snow. Further we go, straight toward the gun position. Only a short time later, we are there and the tank pushes over the little mound of snow only to crash down hard going forward. Under the tracks, anti-tank rifles and ammunition are being ground to bits. 2 injured Russians are crawling away from us. They are unable to run anymore. I'm hoping our radio man will finish off both, but he reports out of ammo and needs to feed in a fresh belt. Calmly, our driver drives toward the 2. The commander yells out to evade, but apparently no one except me has heard this. With a crunch, we roll over the wounded with our 25 tons and just keep going on. Now there are targets to be seen at the edge of the village. Anti-aircraft guns and Ratschbum, 76mm field guns, are firing at us. We stop and I acquire the first available artillery piece. The fire command is given and already the first high explosive shell on its way. After the second round, the cannon is out of commission. Another 4 shells, then the commander has us roll on. 1 more Ratschbum blows up. We roll on. 2 tanks come to a halt with track hits. But we've not had a total loss yet. The infantry soldiers advance behind us. From the flank, our 3 armored reconnaissance vehicles firing wildly, coming racing toward the village. That must be a diversion, but the Russians remain though and won't retreat. We receive hit after hit. Suddenly, our tank stands still. I look down to the driver. He yells, "Ditch!" And indeed, in front of us is a nearly 5-meter wide ditch. I have no clue whether we can get through this. We need a decision, and we need it fast. The Russians keep shooting at us. The commander hesitates. He wipes over his lips. I ask loudly what he intends to do. We must move. The tank to our left turns in and drives broadside to the line of fire. That's a madness. And already he gets a direct hit in the side and is smoking. Again there is a bang onto the turret mantle. I shout to the master sergeant that he should say something. Nervously he looks left and right. Sweat runs off his forehead. It can't be much longer, and we will also just be a burning wreck. I don't care. I shout to the driver he should cross the ditch. What could be worse than to sink there, only to blow up? With a jolt, it goes on. The tank tilts dangerously forward and dives deep into the ditch. Pieces of ice break apart. At one, our driver Günther goes full throttle, so we are pushing through the stream of water. Cold water runs into the driver's lap, but we are moving further on. The opposite side is not as high. Our slow Isolde is climbing up the edge. Now it's dangerous because we are exposing our lower plate. But no shot hit us. Now it's our turn again. At full speed, we're rushing towards the first house. Whatever is standing there is mercilessly shot up. The Russians flee. We are not inside the village yet. The other tanks move up. Apparently, we're now fighting all alone. The commander says nothing anymore, and is only clasping the picture of his family in his hand. Damn it, that's not good. We break through a wall of a house and fire into the streets. The infantry soldiers are now there and are smoking out the houses. Soon thereafter, the village is in our hands. When we got out, I look at our Isolde. Hits all over. The lady is pretty beat up. Our driver Günther did well. A captain from the infantry comes over to us and slaps the commander on the shoulder. He is grateful that we crossed the ditch, otherwise he and his men would not have been able to cross it. The captain is injured, therefore I ask whether I should bandage him up. He wouldn't have noticed it, but he appreciated the help. In an hour we are supposed to move on. We quickly want to drink a big cup of coffee. The captain summons 2 corporals. A short time later, we get hot coffee and chocolate. Our commander just smirks tensely but says nothing. I think this will still have an aftermath, either for him or me. Our supply vehicles have arrived. We receive munition for the next assault. There's a boom again. Poorly aimed artillery fire is covering the center of the village. A motorcycle messenger comes speeding over and reports to the captain enemy tanks from our flanks. That can't be happening. The others were supposed to secure over there. A pig's mess. We can't go forward, can't go back either. Colonel Grunner gives the order that we are to hedgehog until relief arrives. Nice mess.